Dear colleagues, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to everyone. Yesterday was a good, long day with a lot of effective and fruitful discussions. I hope you had a good night at the dinner and a good rest after. While we were at the dinner, our colleagues working in drafting committee stayed behind and missed the dinner to integrate the feedback received from the working groups on the draft terms of reference of the OIC Red Network and draft declaration of our meeting. Copies of these revised documents have been distributed to your desks. I hope you read that documents. The drafting committee selected among themselves the following members as spokespersons to present us the revised terms of reference of the network and the declaration of the meeting. Mr. Alper Küçük, Deputy Director General of Turkish Red Crescent, and Nevin Yusri, Director of Projects and International Relations of the Kuwait Red Crescent. I now invite the spokesperson of the drafting committee to the floor for their presentation. After the presentation of each document, I will ask if there is any final suggestion related to the text. Dear colleagues, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you kindly mentioned, the drafting committee stayed behind yesterday evening to capture the feedback that we received from the working groups as reported to the drafting committee and worked on integrating them in the terms of reference, the draft terms of reference and the draft declaration of the meeting. So I enjoy the company of my colleague, Dr. Nevin Yusri, and among the drafting committee, we also had advisor to the President of Kyrgyzstan Red Crescent, Marat, Mr. Marat, and Head of Mission of Qatar Red Crescent in Turkey, Mr. Mazen, Director of International Relations of Afghan Red Crescent, Mr. Ghulam Habib, and also the Secretary General of the Sudanese Red Crescent, Mr. Osman Ghaffar. So I thank all my colleagues in front of you for their efforts. And if you allow, now I will start by presenting our first document, which is the draft terms of reference of the OIC Red Network. If we can scroll down a little bit, the headline of the terms of reference is Network of Red Crescent and Red Cross National Societies in Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC member countries. This was originally referred as OIC region. With the feedback received from working groups, it has changed to member countries. So the purpose of the terms of reference. Inspired by global principles and shared in the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, IFRC, Constitution and Movement Statutes, the network identifies a unique collaborative opportunity to provide a collective response to address the growing humanitarian challenges faced by the national societies within the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC member countries. So, as I announced in the previous session, a few colleagues informed about last suggestions, and which is, I will now announce one minor suggestion that we received. It is to amend the word, which is the very first sentence, inspired by global. The suggestion was to replace global with fundamental, to be consistent more with our wider documentation among the movement. So
it's our traditional terms and we have to keep it.
So I will ask my colleague who controls the computer now to revise in front of you the global as fundamental. I will continue with the suggested last changes, and of course the chair will give floor for any comments, so we can go back to the beginning and start if there's any other comment. So the next one, the network seeks to support vulnerable people in need within the OIC member countries by providing a platform to exchange and apply the knowledge, skills, and know-how of the Red Cross and Red Crescent societies. There is one more small suggestion to this word as well. Before the Red Cross and Red Crescent societies in the last sentence, suggestion was to add the national. So before the Red Cross word, Madeline, if you can help me, before the Red Cross, again for consistency, to add the word national. And to the end of the sentence, the suggestion is to add and the movement as a whole. So we keep the suggestions in track changes, and if there is any otherwise suggestion to these amendments or to the text in general, we will come back. This network would set forth the first initiative that seeks a wider inclusiveness and synergy among national Red Crescent and Red Cross societies amongst the OIC member countries in an effort to generate a greater cooperative impact in humanitarian assistance at the local level. Objectives. The global objective of the network is to complement national societies' efforts in alleviating human suffering and contributing to sustainable development through enhanced resilience of the communities within the OIC member countries. Advocacy. Advocating the rights of vulnerable people and at-risk communities through enhanced dialogue and humanitarian diplomacy. Humanitarian policy. Contributing to OIC's policies within a humanitarian perspective and promoting the global principles and policies of the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement.
We can revise it as well.
The suggestion again is here also for Chairman, is to revise the global word with the fundamental. Capacity building. Providing a platform among network members to facilitate the exchange of knowledge, expertise, and best practices through increased availability of training, skill sharing, benchmarking, joint programming, raising awareness about the cooperation, and peer-to-peer learning. Resource mobilization. Developing, supporting, and facilitating resource mobilization efforts of national societies from donors across the OIC member countries. Membership. Membership in the network includes any national society within the OIC member countries recognized under the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement that is willing to contribute or would benefit from participation. We have one suggestion in this point as well. It is to amend the word under as and replace it as a component. Rather than using the word of under, replace it as a component. Of the red, so the rest is the same. Component of the international. Next one. The network consists of national societies in the OIC member countries as full members. The network may welcome observers and other consultative bodies and entities from OIC member countries. One suggestion to this sentence as well, to the end with comma, add addition of IFRC and ICRC. Next, those comprised within the network remain a part of this cooperative, but as individuals and as representatives of their national societies and organizations. All members share collective responsibility and liability for the activities of the network. Legal status. The network, registered in the host country of the Secretariat, inspired by global and regional principles and strategies and the statutes of the International Red Cross and Red Crescent Movement and IFRC Constitution, recognizes them as a guiding framework for this cooperation. An additional word that came from the working group sessions. The network complements the efforts of its members and the wider movement components.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We are members of the Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum. In regards to the part in yellow, we would like to recommend that the part where it says the network may welcome observers and other consultative bodies and entities from member states of OIC, we should also add and the relevant institutions. Because being an institution of the OIC that deals with youth, we would be very much happy to have either observer or consultative status within the inshallah established OIC Red network. So I would propose after OIC member countries, which are usually in the OIC system it uses OIC member states, but if the House has agreed for member countries, I will not argue on that, but I would propose after that add OIC relevant institutions. Thank you.
Thank you. We will park this comment, and I apologize. I thought there's another comment. We will let the chair to receive the suggestions. After if you allow us to finish the terms of reference, I will turn back to the chair and receive. Maybe there are others. I see some more hands. So, but we parked that note already. The next one. Those comprised within the network, no, we'll leave legal status, sorry. The network, registered in the host country of the Secretariat, inspired by global and regional principles and strategies and the statutes of the International Red Cross and Red Crescent Movement and IFRC Constitution, recognizes them as a guiding framework for this cooperation. The network complements the efforts of its members and the wider movement. Yeah. I will turn the chair. There are raising hands from ICIC, I see, but I think we will go back to all those comments after we present.
If you allow me, you can complete all feedbacks from the workshop.
And then we go back to the beginning.
We go back to the top.
Beginning.
Then, yes.
Yep. Thank you, Chairman. We need to add right there the network secretariat for consistency, because at the bottom we will see the name has been suggested and to change as network secretariat. So, body of the network. The network registered in the host country, the network is projected to consist of general membership meeting, steering committee, and network secretariat. These bodies will have the following roles. General membership meeting. General membership meeting, composed of full membership, will serve as the supreme decision-making body, identify the general strategies and priorities of the network. General membership meeting is projected to meet every calendar year. In the original ToR, the name of the body was General Assembly, but as similar to other changes we made to make sure we don't confuse the same names with our federation, because we have a General Assembly in the federation, the wording may confuse. So that's why suggestion from working group was that we use another word for the full membership meeting. The second, steering committee. Steering committee composed of up to 5 rotating members selected during the general membership meeting. This group will develop, comply by, and implement decisions made by the general membership meeting. The steering committee will predominantly work remotely and meet in person when deemed necessary. The steering committee's functions will be facilitated by the network secretariat. Last, network secretariat. Network secretariat will function as the standing executive structure, provide engagement with membership and stakeholders, and ensure that strategies are effectively implemented. Network secretariat will be responsible to the general membership meeting. So this is the full text, and we can now go back to the beginning, and I will turn the floor to the chairman.
Thank you, Alper. Now it's open to comments, discussions. Aynur will give the floor.
Yes, the floor is for the Iranian Red Cross.
Thank you very much.
Malaysia.
There is a tremendous job doing by the colleagues. So I have some suggestions and amendments regarding the terms of reference. Starting from the first title and line, Network of Red Crescent and Red Cross National Societies. So in our tradition, we have the international movement of Red Cross and Red Crescent. So, I mean, we changed the word crescent, as most of the national societies in this, let's say, OIC countries, we have the crescent. So my suggestion would be just to go back to our tradition and change the Red Cross and Red Crescent national societies, just to refuse any ambiguity in the title. So, so it is Network of Red Cross and Red Crescent. The second suggestion I have in the title is about the member countries. Thanks that you noticed my yesterday's comments for change the region, but member countries, politically, normally in international level, we use the states rather than the countries. So in legally speaking, in international law, there is a difference between country and the state. So when we are using the term state in international level, it means that the governing of the local country and the sovereignty in that country. So my suggestion would be that just to have the member states rather than the countries, because in the Constitution, in the Charter of the United Nations, it is a state, not the country. So I have, I mean, a couple of other suggestions that we can go. In the first line of purpose, we have the International Federation of Red Cross, Red Crescent, IFRC Constitution and Movement. So because the fundamental principles is inspired in the international movement of Red Cross, which we have all the components as the national societies, IFRC and ICRC. So I would suggest that it inspired by the fundamental principles enshrined in international movement of Red Cross and Red Crescent. So rather than naming the IFRC, ICRC, or the other components, so we can only have the international movement of Red Cross and Red Crescent societies. Then, okay, so let's go paragraph by paragraph, then we can amend the other suggestions. Thank you.
It's with the chair, too.
Yeah, it's noted.
Malaysia.
Yes, yeah, you can, Aynur.
So we continue receiving comments. Malaysian Red Crescent.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We would like to propose amendments to paragraph 1, purpose, and add the word inspired and guided by. Thank you. The next one is under legal status, the second page, second paragraph after membership legal status, the end of the paragraph after components. So before the components, no full stop, get rid of the full stop, subject to the rules and regulations of the movement, which includes the various Red Cross and Red Crescent agreements, capital A, comma, resolutions of the statutory meetings and the international conferences of the movement and the wider movement components. Wider movement components, capital S, full stop. This includes the Sevilla Agreement, Seville, S-E-V-I-L-L-E, Seville, France,
Seville from Italy.
Spain, S-E-V-I-L-L-E, Sevilla, agreement, and the resolution on the strength, in open inverted commas, strengthening movement, coordination, and cooperation. Capital S, it's in open inverted, and the resolution on the, and the resolution on the, and the resolution on the, and before strengthening, opening, open inverted commas, open inverted commas, quotation marks, strengthening movement coordination and cooperation, movement coordination and cooperation, close inverted commas, and then in brackets, SMCC, close brackets, in all its activities. Mr. Chairman, if I may, I would like to ask my legal consult to address the word about liability.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you look to the section on membership, you're right. On the last point, it says that all members share collective responsibility and liability for the activities of the network. When you say liability here, it can be interpreted as legal liability. So the issue is, say if there are two states among the OIC members, for example, state A and state B, they were to have an agreement to do some activity, and if there is a dispute among them, and they were to start to take legal action against each other, then the liability shall also, because of the paragraph here, it shall also be imposed to all the other members of the OIC. So that seems to be an issue here. If I may suggest, but the thing is, I'm not so sure what the drafter were trying to express through this particular clause. So perhaps all members share collective responsibility in all its activities, or something else, because I'm not so sure as to what the drafter wants to mean here, and the word liability here is a bit too much. Thank you.
Thank you for the Malaysian Red Crescent for his comments. Now I give the floor to the ICIC, Mr.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. بداية نرحب بهذه الوثيقة الهامة التي عرضت الآن، ونشكر الجهود التي بذلت سواء من الهلال الأحمر التركي أو من المشاركين في هذا المؤتمر الهام. سيد الرئيس، الحقيقة بداية أود أن أتوجه بالشكر والتقدير للجهد الذي بذل من الهلال الأحمر التركي ومن المشاركين في هذا المؤتمر من أجل إنتاج والوصول إلى هذه النتائج الطيبة التي نامل أن تكون خير عون في مسيرة العمل الإنساني. سيد الرئيس، فقط نحن بدون شك قد شاركنا بما نستطيع في إنجاز هذه العمل. نعتقد أن هناك فقرة الثانية في الديباجة اللي هي في السطر الخامس أو السادس، اللي هي the network may welcome observer and other consultative body and entity from ICIC, from OIC member country, FRC and ICRC, and we like to add ICIC as a body who can also contribute in this action as observer. شكرا. شكرا سيد الرئيس.
Thank you for ICIC for his comments. Now we give the floor to ARCO.
We already say observer in the beginning. If we put full stop after ICIC, I think that will be enough. Otherwise, we are repeating. Yep.
دكتور سالي.
السلام عليكم، ويسعد صباح الجميع بالخير والتفاؤل والعمل والأمل. ابتداء نثمن هذه المناقشات الثرية، وكذلك لا ننسى أن نقدر عالياً جهود جمعية الهلال الأحمر التركي على حسن الوفادة والضيافة والاستقبال. ونذكر بأن المجموعة العربية التي تشكل قرابة النصف من الجمعيات الوطنية الحاضرة في هذه القاعة، وكذلك أكثر من الثلث بالنسبة لتشكيلة شبكة منظمة التعاون الإسلامي من الجمعيات الوطنية. يجب أن نذكر كثيراً حرص الهلال الأحمر التركي واللجنة الإسلامية على أخذ آراء المجموعة العربية منذ وقت طويل، ونشكرهم على ذلك. وقد أسهمت هذه الآراء فعلاً بفاعلية، وطرحت الكثير من التساؤلات والأفكار في بناء بدايات هذه الفكرة. لعلي أبدأ أولاً من غير التقليل من الجهود التي قدمت، أبدأ من الإعلان الذي أعلن، وهو بذل عليه الكثير من الوقت بالمناسبة والمداخلات، وإذ نشيد فيه ونبارك به. أقترح أن تضاف هذه المداخلة أولاً إلى وثائق هذا الاجتماع المهم، لكي يكون الاجتماع هذا ثرياً، وتكون فكرة الشبكة أيضاً ليست يعني ولدت مشوهة، وإنما تكون قوية. فالإعلان الذي اجتمعت عليه المجموعة العربية هذا اليوم هو كالتالي، إذا سمحتوا لي: إعلان اسطنبول حول إنشاء شبكة جمعيات الهلال الأحمر والصليب الأحمر في الدول الأعضاء في منظمة التعاون الإسلامي. ليست المؤتمر الإسلامي، وإنما التعاون الإسلامي، لأنه غيرت كما أعرف قبل سنوات، وتحذف شبكة OIC في هذه اللحظة حتى يتم صياغة الشعار، لأنه لدينا اقتراح بعد هذا الإعلان بلا شك سيخصص لدراسة الشعارات والهيكلة والأمور الإدارية إلى غير ذلك. إذن نقول هنا منظمة التعاون الإسلامي، واستلهاماً والتزاماً بدلاً من الكلمة المذكورة قبل قليل: والتزام بمبادئ وقواعد وأنظمة الحركة الدولية للصليب الأحمر والهلال الأحمر، وإدراكاً كاملاً للأوجه المشتركة والتحديات والفرص المتاحة لدى الجمعيات الوطنية. هذه هنا الإضافة: لدى الجمعيات الوطنية للهلال الأحمر والصليب الأحمر للدول الأعضاء في منظمة التعاون الإسلامي، والحاجة إلى التنسيق والتعاون فيما بينهم للتصدي لها بشكل جماعي. وبموجب هذا نرحب بمبادرة إنشاء شبكة لجمعيات الهلال الأحمر والصليب الأحمر في الدول الأعضاء في منظمة التعاون الإسلامي كنتيجة لهذا الاجتماع الذي عقد في اسطنبول في الجمهورية التركية يومي 28 و 29 يناير بمشاركة ممثلين للعديد من الجمعيات الوطنية للهلال الأحمر والصليب الأحمر للدول المنتمية إلى منظمة التعاون الإسلامي. هنا إضافة مهمة: على أن تشكل لجنة تأسيسية تراجع الشروط المرجعية واللوائح العملية والشعارات والهياكل الإدارية لهذه الشبكة. هنا نقطة مهمة: مع الأخذ بعين الاعتبار ملاحظات الجمعيات العربية والإسلامية التي لم تتمكن من حضور هذا الاجتماع بهدف إثراء هذه المبادرة. هذه نقطة مهمة أؤكد عليها. والنقطة الأخرى: نريد أن أيضا نخرج في هذا الاجتماع باللغة المرجعية. ما هي اللغة التي يرجع إليها في حالة تغير الصياغة؟ إذن يحذف OIC حتى يتم اتخاذ أو الاتفاق على الشعار بشكل نهائي، وكذلك على أن تشكل لجنة تأسيسية تراجع الشروط المرجعية واللوائح العملية وإلى غير ذلك لهذه الشبكة، وأن يؤخذ بعين الاعتبار ملاحظات الجمعيات العربية والإسلامية التي لم تتمكن لسبب أو لآخر لحضور مثل هذا الاجتماع. هناك الكثير أيضا في المقابل من التساؤلات التي تثري هذه الفكرة، وأنا أعتقد أنه عندما نطرحها ونطرح بعضها في هذه الجلسة بلا شك ستفيد. لذلك ما بعد هذه من اللوائح التنظيمية التي سمعناها قبل قليل، أعتقد أنه بدلا من أن نبني البيت قبل أن نضع الشكل الهندسي أو المخطط الهندسي للبيت، قد ما يسعدنا في إنجاح هذه الفكرة بشكل يعني متكامل. فاقتراح المجموعة العربية أن تشكل لجنة خلال الشهرين أو الثلاثة تدرس كل ما يقدم لها من الجمعيات الوطنية العربية والإسلامية من أفكار لكي تخرج هذه الفكرة فعلا متكاملة. وبالمناسبة لدينا في 22 و 24 أبريل المقبل في ضيافة كريمة من جمعية الهلال الأحمر الكويتي اجتماع للمجموعة العربية، بلا شك سوف يخدم أيضا إنشاء هذه الفكرة لأنه سيطرح من خلاله العديد من الآراء. هناك الكثير من التساؤلات التي لا أريد أن أطرحها الآن، لأنه ما قيل من قبل من أفكار وما قيل في هذا الإعلان الذي ذكرته قبل قليل هو الذي سوف المفترض أو هذه اللجنة هي الذي سوف تتبنى الإجابة على هذه التساؤلات. وبالمناسبة لدى المجموعة العربية كما لدى المجموعة الإسلامية مجموعة كبيرة من القانونيين ومن الخبراء الذين يتجاوز عمرهم في الحركة الدولية أكثر من 40 سنة. فأجزم عندما تشكل هذه اللجنة تريد المجموعة العربية أن تكون عضو فاعلة في هذه اللجنة لإنجاح هذه الفكرة أيضا وأن تكون قوية. وشكرا جزيلا سعادة الرئيس، وشكرا لجميع الزملاء في هذه القاعة. تحياتي.
شكرا جزيلا. Gambia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, let me use this opportunity to thank the Turkish Kızılay Red Crescent for initiating this. Like I said yesterday, it is timely and very useful to have such a network. I just have 2 points that I would like to raise here. Probably the first one is a suggestion, but the second one is a question for clarification. The first one is with regards to the second bullet on the purpose, where it reads, the network seeks to support vulnerable people in need. I don't know. I mean, I would like to suggest that it seeks to support the work of the national societies in addressing the needs of the most vulnerable within the OIC member states. I mean, that, I think, instead of seeks to support the vulnerable people directly, it seeks to support the members, the national societies, in addressing the needs of the most vulnerable. My second point relates to the objectives, where it says humanitarian policy. I mean, I think this is probably something that I don't know whether it has been discussed here, but the nexus between humanitarian and development. Here we are focusing more on humanitarian. And I think the discourse around the world is about the nexus between humanitarian and development. So I believe we are limiting ourselves on humanitarian, and the engagement with OIC member states could be only limited to humanitarian. So this is back to those who have been writing this, whether it's really focusing mainly on humanitarian, when the world is talking about the nexus, humanitarian development nexus, whereby we don't just address humanitarian, but we also look at development issues, because most of the work we do as Red Cross and Red Crescent is auxiliary to our authorities in helping to develop or do development activities. Because humanitarian consequences in some cases are failure of development processes. Thank you.
Thank you, dear colleague. It's noted.
I can give you a text. I can give you a text.
I think we delayed. Let me help the drafter there.
Can I read it again? Yes, the network seeks to support the work of the national societies in addressing the needs of the most vulnerable within the OIC member states, I think somebody said earlier on.
The network
seeks to support the national societies in addressing the needs of the most vulnerable.
The needs of the most vulnerable.
Yeah. Within the OIC
member, within the OIC member states. I guess we will go back to the feedback from Iran to revise the country word to states in the overall text, actually. Okay, let's keep it like that. Chairman, this floor is yours again.
Thank you for the Gambian Red Cross. Now we give the floor to the Azerbaijan Red Crescent.
Teşekkür ederim. Sayın Sədir, öncəliklə mən Azərbaycan Kızılay Dərneyi adına sizə təşəkkürdə bulunmaq istəyirəm. Çünki siz həqiqətən çox möhtəşəm bir tədbir ərsəyə gətirdiniz və göstərdiniz ki, həqiqətən bizim uluslararası Qızıl Xaç və Qızıl Ay hərəkatı böyük bir ailədir, bütöv bölünməz bir ailədir və bu ailə daxilində, çərçivəsində ortaya çıxan hər hansı bir məsələni həll etməyə, çözməyə qadiriz. Və heç də təsadüfi deyil ki, bu toplantıya Uluslararası Qızıl Xaçın genel sekreterinin, Uluslararası Qızıl Xaçın genel başkan yardımcısının, hətta Rusiya Qızıl Xaçının genel başkanlarının katılması, yəni bizimlə bir arada olması, bu əslində elə bizim hərəkatın bütövlüyünün bir göstəricisi olaraq qəbul edilməlidir. Və network'ün yaranması məsələsi dündən bəri tartışılır. Yəni artıq biz 2 gündür bu məsələni müzakirə edirik, diskussiyalarda bulunuruq və müxtəlif fikirlər bununla bağlı səslənir. Öncəliklə bir qism insanda böyle bir fikir yaranmıştı ki, bu network uluslararası federasyona sanki bir alternatif olarak bir təşkilat, kurum olarak yaranacaqdır. Lakin biz bu edilən müzakirələrdə gördük ki, bu heç də belə deyil. Bu əslində uluslararası Qızıl Xaç Federasyonuna bir dəstək olan bir kurum şəklində, bir platforma şəklində bir olan orqandır və bu orqanda amacı təbii ki, bu OIC daxil ölkələrin Kızılay dərnəklərinə və ümumiyyətlə bu coğrafiyada insani yardıma ehtiyacı olan insanlara zamanında insani yardımların göstərilməsində çox bir önəmli rolü olan bir təşkilat olacaq. Bununla ilgili ben həm də bir şey söyləmək istəyirəm ki, həqiqətən də bu bizə təqdim olunan metin çox ətraflı hazırlanmış və təbii ki, bizim arkadaşların bu metinlə bağlı fikirləri oldu, əlavələri oldu. Amma mən belə düşünürəm ki, bunu indiki durumda əsas kimi qəbul etmək olar və fikrimcə arkadaşlarımızın bu mətinə bundan sonra əlavə edəcəkləri təklifləri sonradan nəzərə almaq olar. Təbii ki, hüquqşünaslar, bu sahədə olan mütəxəssislərin iştirakı ilə mətin bir daha nəzərdən keçirilər və sonucda tüm hazır halda olan bir mətin bizə təqdim olunar və biz o mətinə sonradan öz fikrimizi də bildirərik. Bir halda ki, network'ün amacı insanlara yardım rolünü oynayır və bunu biz Uluslararası Qızıl Xaçın Genel Sekretarının, Uluslararası Qızıl Xaç Komitəsinin Genel Başkan Yardımcısının, hətta bizim çox dəyərli bir kolleqamız olan Frank'in də çıxışlarından biz bu network'ün fəaliyyətinə müsbət münasibətin olduğunun şahidi olduq. Bizə də qalır ki, belə bir network'ün fəaliyyətinə öz xeyir duamızı verək və deyək bu təşkilat xeyirli, uğurlu olsun və fəaliyyətə başlayaraq insanlara hizmətdə bulunsun. Təşəkkür edərəm.
Thank you very much. Dear colleague, just I would like to comment, echo your words. This is a very early and advanced terms of reference, just we are discussing. It is not a constitution, because it is very loose paper, very loose frame for establishment of this network. In the federation, this is our 100 years of anniversary of the federation, we are still talking on and working on for the revision of our constitution. So we can revise all these terms of reference by our upcoming meetings. Or it's open to revise. It's not a constitution, but we can revise in upcoming meetings as well. But for establishing this network, we need this kind of frame for sharpening the network and for the declaration. So we noted that after this final approval, we will disseminate these terms of reference with our all colleagues. Some of our colleagues couldn't attend this meeting, and we will share with them, and we will get their approvals as well, because they said for logistical issues, some of our colleagues couldn't attend here, but they mostly welcomed this idea and establishment. So we will disseminate after our final approval.
Now I give the floor to ICRC.
I think it was a small mistake. You wanted to say ICYF, I guess. No? OIC Youth Forum.
Any colleagues from ICRC? No, okay.
We
Guinea.
Excuse me.
Merci bien, Monsieur le Président. Je joins ma voix au prédécesseur pour remercier cette société nationale du Croissant Rouge de Turquie. Et ce n'est qu'une proposition. Et les locaux, j'ai apprécié beaucoup. OCI, Réseau Rouge. Mais moi, je proposerais, pour que tout le monde se retrouve dans ces locaux, j'avais proposé OCI SN, Réseau des sociétés nationales. OCI, Réseau des sociétés nationales, OCI SN, Réseau. Donc je pense bien que c'était une proposition au niveau de locaux. Et deuxième point déjà, ça a été déjà, ma préoccupation a été tenue compte déjà, concernant, au lieu de pays membres, États membres, je pense bien que ça a été déjà dit. J'en ai fini, je vous remercie.
Thank you.
Yes, now I give the floor to the Qatar Red Crescent.
السلام عليكم. نشكر الهلال الأحمر التركي على الدور الذي قام فيه لإنجاح هذا المؤتمر، ونحن كهلال أحمر قطري نوافق على إنشاء الشبكة ونبارك أي مسعى يوحد الجمعيات الوطنية ويكون لها دور إيجابي في خدمة الإنسانية، مع ضرورة تطوير اللوائح المؤسسية لهذه الشبكة لكي تتمكن من الاستجابة السريعة للتحديات الإنسانية في الوقت المناسب. ولعل اللجنة التأسيسية المقترحة ستفي بالغرض حول الاستفسارات المطروحة، ونشكركم جزيل الشكر.
Thank you for the Qatar Red Crescent. Now I give the floor to the Nigerian Red Crescent.
Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I want to also join other speakers in thanking Turkish Red Crescent Society for its wonderful support and cooperation. I also want to commend the work of this committee, actually. To my views, most of the issues, comments that were aired yesterday were actually captured by this committee. So I think they did a very commendable job. I just want to look at the purpose point where we have 3 bullet points. So I think we need the bullet points only if the word purpose is in plural form. If it is not in plural form, then we don't need the bullet points. Otherwise, we maintain just the paragraphs. Yeah, but if there's an S, then we can now maintain the bullet points. Then I also want to look at the steering committee. Steering committee under body of the network. I'm not fully aware of the rationale for having 5 rotating members, in view of the fact that OIC member states actually are quite diverse across the globe, in continent and subcontinents. So I feel maybe if we have 9, could have been maybe more representative to ensure inclusiveness actually on this committee. Particularly on the fact that it has been proposed that they can work virtually. They don't have to be kind of meeting in practice, all the times in order to affect their job. So I feel it may be wise to have the number up to 9, considering continent and subcontinents where all the OIC member states actually are. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Nigeria. OIC may take the floor.
The national societies, after finalizing national societies,
We still have
Afghanistan. Algeria.
Albania.
Afghanistan.
Okay. Sorry, now I give the floor to the national societies first. So Afghanistan, RC, may take the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, the point I would like to raise here is about also the state and the country. Yes, we have OIC member states, but now we also need to take into consideration that the national societies do not belong to the states. They belong to the countries. And there are some differences between the states and countries, and it could also be confusing. Yeah. So we need to find a better solution, or we can say member state countries, I don't know, but I think this may also raise some kind of confusions if we say states. Then objectives. Under the objectives, I don't have very clear suggestion, but we somehow need to also include contribution to the global agenda of the Red Cross Red Crescent movement under the objectives, if we can include somewhere, like the objectives of the Red Cross Red Crescent movement, strengthening International Federation of Red Cross Red Crescent. So this will always be among the objectives of the network. So that is a suggestion. So I think if it can be taken note and then added somehow. And then under the membership, under the membership, also the point number 2, observers. I think in addition to I4C, ICRC, and also the other bodies, relevant bodies from OIC members, and also ICIC, I would suggest that some national societies from the countries who are not member states of OIC, if they can also be included as observers from time to time. The national societies from the countries not members of the OIC. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Actually, Brother Salih from ARCO advised to get legal comment from the authorities, legal advice from the authorities. So, yes, we have some confusions between country, state, or nation, something. So, the steering committee can take advice from legal advice and correct and revised by the correct legal terms Iran, no, just for your first comment. This logo is meeting logo. This is not a network logo, just our colleagues designed that logo as a meeting logo. So if you like, we can keep. If you don't like, we can change. It is just a meeting logo. Brother from Iran raised that issue. why the crescent first, the cross second? Because our traditional also the cross first, the crescent second. There is no difference between cross and crescent. The reason the name in the movement is, yes, the Red Cross established first, then crescent also added after that cross. Because of that, it is not the valuable first, the others second. There is no difference. But I have to say something regarding the logo of the federation, because Kızılay is the first owner of the Hilal, so I have some right for talking on. At the beginning, Henry Dunant, God bless him, offered that idea. Then movement, committee, and the national societies have chosen cross as an opposite of the Swiss flag. You know, the Swiss flag is a red ground and white cross. The Kızılay has been founded as a 11th national society and the first crescent owner. At that time, they followed, our founding fathers followed same route, the opposite of the Ottoman flag. So Ottoman flag that crescent wings that at that time looked to the right side, so turn it to the left side, and it was white and changed it as a red. So the right direction of the crescent is like this. In the federation, you know, the cross and actually crescent like this. If we change that crescent like this, some debate, crescent will eat cross something. So we changed crescent here, just avoiding this kind of things. So there is no difference, the cross first, crescent first, no difference. So this is not a federation, this is the network. So the reason of that logo is because of that, have that background. Yes.
Thank you. And now we will proceed with the Senegalese Red Crescent.
Merci beaucoup. Je voudrais peut-être en conformité avec nos principes, parce qu'il est employé dans le but remonter un peu, où l'on parle de composantes. Et vous savez que l'article 1 du mouvement de la Croix-Rouge a déterminé 3 composantes, les sociétés nationales, le CICR et la fédération. C'est l'article 1 donc, du mouvement. Donc nous devons remplacer le mot composante par partenaire, ou, etc. Mais si vous mettez composante, c'est comme si nous voulons nous inclure. Or, le mouvement a défini déjà à l'article 1, les composantes du mouvement sont les sociétés nationales reconnues, le comité international de la Croix-Rouge et la fédération. Donc là, vous avez mis composante de la fédération internationale, etc. Vous mettez partenaire. Je propose qu'on mette partenaire. L'autre aspect, c'est dans les objectifs. Dans les objectifs, je ne vois pas nulle part où on ait parlé du droit international humanitaire. Or, vous savez, le CICI a le forum. Il serait peut-être bon d'essayer de l'inclure quelque part. Nous avons parlé d'advocacy, humanitarisme politique, etc. Où est-ce qu'on peut introduire le droit international humanitaire? Parce que nous sommes appelés à discuter de cette question, à voir comment nos sociétés nationales contribuent à l'application du droit international ou à son amélioration. Merci.
Actually, it's not IHL. It is a kind of humanitarian affairs law. Humanitarian aid law. which is not shaped yet.
Madeline, maybe we can add this to the humanitarian policy section rather than. Can you go back to the policy one? Yeah. Yes, keep it there and we will find a way to integrate. Chairman mentioned something.
Now we'll proceed to the Albania, RC, Albania.
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 Thank you very much. Let me go briefly in 2 or 3 remarks we have got regarding these terms of reference. In the membership,
can we go to the membership, Madeline?
Although it was corrected, membership in the network includes an international society within the OIC member countries recognized as a component. I would like to say exactly recognized by the ICRC as it is foreseen in the documents of the ICRC and or of the movement that the ICRC is the entity which recognizes all new national societies. And after that, it is a federation which includes this national society in its, let's say, as members. But the precondition is that all national society which will be member of the federation, first they should be recognized by the ICRC. The term used as component, we find in all documents of the movement that there are 3 components, only 3 components. First, ICRC, second, federation, and the third, national societies. So all 191 national societies globally are one component. So may the Secretariat or those who have been working on that drafting to take this note. This is first. Second is that yesterday we have signed a declaration regarding the recognition of the May 9th as the International Day of the International Humanitarian Law. May this declaration be attached to these terms of reference which will be approved, and may this declaration we signed as OIC members, national societies, to be as a proposal for the General Assembly due to be held in the coming December, because we as national societies agree among each other to celebrate this day as internationally. But we cannot decide that, let's say, national societies in America or in Europe to celebrate a day which is decided by our conference. So this day, in order to be recognized and to be celebrated each day, I think it should be presented to the General Assembly as a proposal. To the legal status, it is written the network registered in the host country. Registration is a legal procedure. This means that it will have a number, it will have a date, this registration. But it is needed a country where this registration will take place. It will be in Turkey, in Istanbul. It will be, let's say, in India or whatever. We have to fix it where this network will be registered. Registration is a legal procedure. It is a concrete act bearing a number and date of this registration. To the body of the network, general membership meeting. It is foreseen that the general membership meeting will be convened each year, every year. every calendar year. Maybe I think that every year it will be a little bit too often. It will be really too often, at least 2 years. Or let's try 2 years. Then in case it will be needed, we change in the next meeting. Because 1 year is going to pass very quickly. And the network secretariat. The network secretariat will function as a standing executive structure, provide engagement and so on. How many people will be working in the network secretariat? Where will be the headquarters of this network secretariat? There will be any rules and procedure of how this network of secretariat will work. At least maybe this cannot be part of these terms of reference, but to be taken under consideration that this should be organized or decided some way, or because the communication will be kept between national societies. There will be, we assume, frequent communication, and that will be announced at a later time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, regarding the comments from the Albanian Red Cross, I think the national societies each have its independent entities. So they are components, not one component. I think this is the way have been defined in the statute of the movement. And Mr. President, also I'd like to reply regarding the periodicity of the meeting. Yes, it's true, it's 1 year is too often. I think it's better to be 2 years, every 2 years, and we can call for urgent meeting or extraordinary meeting when needed. Thank you.
Frequency of the meeting, you are right. It's the problem in that region is, the problems in that region is so high, and maybe at the beginning we can call some extraordinary meetings for establishment and for designing the structure or the priorities. Yes, you are right, and we will have steering committee. Maybe we can raise the number of the members. You are right. If we have consensus, just we can extend every 2 years.
Madeleine, can you go back to the general membership meeting and amend this 2 years? Every 2 years?
Every 2 years, and because we need the preparation for each meeting, it will take very long time to have a solid, well-organized meeting. So I think 2 years is very logic, and we can call for extraordinary whenever it's needed. Yeah. So this is the way it is, I think.
Now I give the floor to the Libyan Red Crescent.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بداية نتقدم بجزيل الشكر وعظيم الامتنان للهلال الأحمر التركي على دوره في استضافة هذا الحدث المميز. وأتقدم أيضا بتقديري للجهود المبذولة من قبل اللجنة المعدة لإعلان اسطنبول واللوائح الملحقة به. ولكن ما يثير الملاحظة بأن هناك العديد من الملاحظات أبديت على النص الأساسي حتى تغير النص الأساسي بشكل كبير جدا. الحقيقة نحن مبدئيا نطلب إشراك الجمعيات الوطنية في إعداد هذا النص وفي إعداد إعلان اسطنبول، وأن يكون الإعلان إعلان مبدئي بغرض تشكيل لجان متخصصة يشترك فيها الجمعيات الوطنية لإعداد إعلان نهائي، وأتضامن مع زميلي الدكتور صالح السحيمي رئيس المنظمة العربية فيما ذكره، وتمكين الجمعيات التي حالت الظروف دون حضورها لهذا الاجتماع من إبداء رأيها وإيصال صوتها فيما يتعلق بهذا العمل، باعتبار أن الشبكة هو عمل يتسم بالديمومة ويحتاج إلى فترة طويلة جدا، ولابد أن يكون قائم على ركائز صحيحة، والركائز الصحيحة تتطلب أن يكون هناك وقت كافي وتأني في العمل، وأن يكون هناك لجان متخصصة لأداء العمل بالشكل الأكمل. شكرا.
Thank you. Now I give the floor to the Maldives, RC.
After Maldives, Maldives.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Assalamu alaikum. Most of the points I wanted to highlight has already been discussed by our partner national societies, but however, it gives me great pleasure to speak to you in this forum where the national societies of the OIC region are represented. We are gathered here today discussing the need for a formal network to represent the OIC region. I would like to express my support for this proposal. I believe this network is critical to strengthen our cooperation and partnership, especially at this time when pooling our expertise, resource, and most importantly, our friendship and compassion is vital to provide our collective support for many crisis situations we are facing in many OIC countries. Many times the national societies represented here have been the biggest pillars of strength for countries of the OIC region during their times of need. Our countries, governments, and people are quick to respond and do their utmost to alleviate suffering of our brothers and sisters. Even in a small country like the Maldives, with less than 400,000 people, our national society was able to raise more than $500,000 to support the Rohingya displaced in Bangladesh. There was a wave of love, compassion for their plight that almost everyone in the country contributed, even those who can hardly afford to do so. This is the love we have amongst each other in the OIC region. With the growing complexity, protracted nature of the crisis situations in this region, it is important through cooperation we make sure we are not burdening any one national society. While strengthening our overall support, we are creating a space for national diplomacy. We are also acknowledging the true meaning of unity, expecting that each national society has the strength and a role to play, no matter the size or resources. Before I conclude, I'd like to thank the Turkish Red Crescent for their generous hospitality and for initiating this important dialogue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Before Frank, يوجد سعودي عربية يتفضل.
شكرا سعادة الرئيس. شكرا لجميع مداخلات. أولا أتقدم بالشكر لأشقاء بتركيا على حسن الضيافة وكرم الضيافة وحسن التنسيق لهذا المؤتمر. فقط أردت أن أثني وأؤكد على ما ذكره سعادة أمين عام المنظمة العربية للهلال الأحمر والصليب الأحمر بشأن رأي المجموعة العربية فيما يخص بعض التعديلات قبل الإعلان النهائي، وكذلك أثني على كلمة زميلنا وشقيقي في ليبيا بأن مثل هذه الشبكة بأهميتها وبأهمية أهدافها حقيقة، وأيضا ترحيبنا المبدئي بهذه المبادرة تتطلب منا مزيدا من التدارس حقيقة حتى تخرج بشكل الذي نتمناه جميعا وتحقق الأهداف السامية التي ذكرت سابقا. من أجل ذلك نؤكد ونطلب أن يكون هناك مجال لمراجعة هذه التيرم اوف ريفرنس وكذلك مراجعة الإعلان النهائي حتى يكون انضمام الجميع حقيقة بفكر واضح وبفاعلية وطموح كبير لتحقيق هذه الأهداف. وأيضا أعتقد مثل هذه الشبكات ما لم يكن هناك فيه نية واستعداد ورغبة في التفاعل الجاد سوف تكون جيدة من حيث البناء الخارجي، لكن من ناحية تحقيق الأهداف نخشى أن يحصل هناك بعض التعثرات لسوء فهم ما أحيانا يكون بحسن نية لم يتم تداركه في البداية. وأعتقد الأفكار الجيدة والمشاريع الجيدة تحتاج إلى إعداد جيد ووقت كافي لذلك. شكرا لكم.
Thank you very much. If you allow me, the time is squeezing us because of we will have lovely Topkapı Museum visit and there is a time limitation. So if you want, we can combine two sessions without breaking and we can finalize it, then we'll be free. Frank, before you leaving, I would like to hear some lovely words from you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I promise you that I will be brief as I have to catch a plane, and I would like to recall what our Secretary General said yesterday, but also what I said yesterday in my brief presentation, that any kind of network is always welcomed because the Federation is a network of national societies and it has an organizational structure which is your federation with a secretariat. There has been several comments have been made here, and I'm probably saying something which is quite inherent already of all what I hear, and also under your leadership, Mr. Chairman, being Vice President of the Federation, it is obvious what I might say, but I think it will not harm, and I don't know exactly where this comes in, is to ensure that anything the network is doing, but also the national societies is doing, is guided and in line with the policies adopted by the Federation and the movement in the Council of Delegates and International Conference, so that we are not having one down the line somewhere different views about these parts, so that we have obvious that we have one decision-making part where policies are made, that is the General Assembly or the Council or the International Conference, and that the network, and I like this very much, there's somebody said, you know, this strengthens also the governance of the movement in some way, so that there's not only one direction, it's a dual track. So we already have some areas here under, I think it is under the legal status, but it could be also under membership to reinforce that the network itself and its members have to adhere at all times and have the responsibility to ensure that its decisions and actions confirm at all times with the decisions of the International Federation and the various movement bodies under the statutes of the movement and the constitution of the Federation. So I don't know exactly where this should come. There is something already under legal status. This could be probably sharpened, but we must need to ensure that we have one decision-making body for the policy level, and then the network advocates around these policies towards the OIC or other bodies here. But otherwise, I think we might end up in a bit of a contradictory phase. So that is my input. And thank you very much also for hosting this meeting and giving me the floor as observers here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. Yeah, we can emphasize again.
I think in the legal status part, it can perfectly fit, registered in the host country of the network, inspired by fundamental principles and statutory organs of the IFRC and the wider International Red Cross.
Rise the regional principles.
Fundamental, let's delete regional, that's what we did. Fundamental principles. Fundamental principles, decisions, or can you
Yes, probably just to, because I think you have to edit and revise this anyway altogether, but just as an idea to add another sentence, and there might be some duplications, but at the end of this last paragraph, which is already in red, this includes the severe agreement and all this, to add probably another sentence which could read something like, the network and its members are responsible to ensure that its decisions and actions conform at all times with the decisions taken by the IFRC and the meetings of the movement under the statutes of the movement and the constitution of the federation. So something like, in that terms, just to take the idea, and then you can see later on how to reflect this in here.
Decisions and actions are in compliance with maybe this.
Exactly, yeah,
in compliance with.
Including this civil agreement, I mean, we can cancel it because it is wider.
I'm suggesting that probably the drafting committee can put this together as just to reinforce that we have.
The last sentence will then already capture what was said before in civil, etc. Yes. It is a more general sentence that will.
But there are more policies created in the federation which the network needs to adhere to. As I said yesterday in my presentation, that the national societies continues to be bound by all the policies taken by the federation and its obligations all listed up in Article 8. So this must be clear that you are still a member of the federation even if you're a member of this network, so that this prevails. That is the intention. And I think what I hear here, everybody has the same intention, but I think it needs to be just strengthened here. Thank you very much.
Madeleine, you can continue with the federation and the statutory decisions of the wider movement, and this will remind us that we need to make a better sentence. Statutory decisions of the wider movement. Okay.
And cancel.
And then we delete the previous one. Yes. Which the previous one also is the same. I think this one came from Malaysia. If they allow us, we are capturing what they said with a more general word. No, up to the original word. The network complements the efforts of its members and the wider movement components, full stop. Full stop. And we delete that addition. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Sorry, it was, Mr. Chair, it was not my intention to lead this further one, probably reword it, because I think it's also important to probably make these most important of SMCC and CV agreement very clear, because they are very, very important for us in the movement. But it's probably, it needs some rewording, I fully agree on this, but.
Okay, then let's keep components subject to, okay, let's keep it all. We keep it all then. If Chairman, we will see if there's any repetition or inconsistency.
Alper, if you want, you
maybe
can start from
if you allow us, yes, we will go back to the very beginning and we'll come down.
From the beginning, all documents. Before starting, ICRC colleagues.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This is maybe just an offer of support. We understand that there are still some discussions now on the text, and we would be very willing to provide further inputs, maybe when there's a more clearer version of the document available. So just to say, we stand ready to provide some technical advice on some of the points raised. Thank you.
So we are now at the beginning, and I think the general agreement about this wording is member countries. The last comment was from Afghanistan saying that it is national societies are not belonging to the states, but it's actually originating from their countries. So
I have comments.
Again,
you see, for the word countries or states, as an international law expert, I can say the Geneva Conventions have been signed by the states, not by the countries. So, and the national societies have been created under Geneva Conventions. So, I mean, we have to be careful about this vote.
I think both, to me, both are fine, because what we don't say national societies of the member states. So we are not creating a belonging link. We are saying in the countries or in the states, not of the states. So we are not linking national societies to the states. We can still use member states. Madeline, can you again make it member states? Okay, we received a comment about changing the logo, and we can prepare until the next meeting of the network, which adopts the permanent logo of the network, because this was, as the chairman said, designed to have a visual of the conference rather than having a plain text in front of us. We wanted to create a visual, colorful logo. So can you delete the in logo OIC part? We took note of it, that we have a work to do in terms of logo purposes. Inspired and guided, I think we all accept the guided one. In the beginning, Madeline, we are in the beginning of the sentence. Inspired and guided by, we can accept it. Yes, it is fundamental. I think we accept it all. We will, yes, accept that as well. By the principles of the Federation. OIC member states this part, I think we will continue by accepting many of the additions, and if there's any strong disagreement, please intervene. Otherwise, we will be trying to finalize the text. The network seeks to support the work of national societies in addressing the need of the most vulnerable within the OIC member states. Yes, let's accept that. By providing a platform to exchange and apply the knowledge, skills, and know-how of the national Red Cross and Red Crescent societies and the movement as a whole. Accepted changes. What happened? Full stop. Let's proceed. There's no change in this one. The global objective and strengthening. Let's accept the strengthening one.
May I have a suggestion for the objectives? We have the global objectives. So
we can delete the global word.
Yeah, I mean, we can have the utmost or ultimate objectives rather than the global.
The main, maybe, the main objective. Yes, the main. We will need to decapitalize those. Let's accept all changes in those sentences. We changed the fundamental, the global with fundamental. This is the same what we did before.
The second line should be and contributing to and strengthening sustainable. And contributing to.
Where? Which one?
Second line after suffering and
contributing
to and strengthening sustainable development.
Okay, Madeline, contributing to and strengthening the sustainable. To and strengthening the sustainable. No? Strengthening the sustainable. Without the, okay, to, yes. Fundamental, let's accept the fundamental. Promoting the fundamental principles, maybe we move IHL after principles, the fundamental principles, IHL, and policies of the international humanitarian law, and policies of the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement. Let's Capacity building, be move. As membership. Now, as a component, recognized. Here, there was a discussion, I remember, from the working groups. When we say, as a component of the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement, the other statutory processes of the movement are clear. I mean, it is ICRC recognizing component officially, and then Federation accepts is as a member. So we thought that in the working group, we don't need to repeat everything which are already well known from other texts. So to be a component of the movement, it is clear, it is ICRC. So we wanted to keep those short. As a component of the International Red Cross. The network, yes, IFRC, ICRC, and these are the observers joining us from the beginning, and the other observers will be decided by the general membership meeting. So ICIC, ICRC, and IFRC. So let's de-highlight. There was one, okay, I think this word captures any affiliated body, anything that the general membership meeting will agree as an observer from the region, they will be able to welcome them.
Alper, also I have a suggestion for the word full members. So we have the members and the observers. So when we say full members, the inter alia means that we have some maybe national society, they are half members or quarter members. So we have a members. It's better just to delete the word full, yeah.
Yes. So there was a comment to the liability from legal perspective. It is a word-by-word quote from the guidelines of how to establish a network. All members share collective responsibility and liability. This is not a legal liability, but a spiritual liability of cooperating. So this was a quote from the guideline of networks of the IFRC. So if there's no disagreement, we can keep it because it's the same word we have in the guideline.
Mr. Chairman, could we propose, I know it appears in the guidelines, but we have mushkilan about it. Okay. All members share collective responsibility for the advancement of the network.
Yes.
Because collective responsibility, in a sense, if you're responsible, you are responsible, so the liabilities inter alia are there for you. But to spell it out, it can also be appreciated as legal liability or either liability.
Can someone help Madeline? It's
yeah,
I think it's in Turkish.
All members share
You're
collective responsibility for the advancement
Let's accept the
of
changes.
the network. Advancement of the network. But we are open to if there's anything more elegant than that.
Let's suggest we have it as, this is the first ToR of the network, and the general membership meeting will definitely make amendments in the next. Legal status, network, accept. I think we discussed this already, let's accept.
Mr. Chairman, the same word appears in the first, which is the network inspired and guided, to add the word and guided. Yeah. So first line.
The first sentence, the second registered in the country of the network, inspired and guided. Can you add guided, Madeline?
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, here when we have the title as legal status, we are expecting to have some legal references and instruments. So the first sentence, which is say the network registered in the host country of the Secretariat, we have to add here under what? I mean, if you have any legal instruments and tools which refers to the sentence, like the articles, any acts, pacts, or whatever it is. You have to find how we can refer the legal status of the network to the internal, let's say, legal legitimacy instruments. So you have to find this one. Then inspired and guided by fundamental principles and strategies. So both fundamental principles and strategies does not have any legal status. So we have to remove this part, saying that the network have been created under blah, blah, blah of the host country and a status of the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement. So please delete the guided by fundamental principles and strategies, because it doesn't have any relations to any legal status of the, okay.
The registration issue was discussed in the working group, and the feedback we received is that because the network will need to invite its members for meetings, will need to send some sort of letters for visa facilitation, etc., the group wanted to keep the registration word. Then if it's the case, maybe if we say under, then it will be under domestic regulations.
Domestic regulations, laws,
yes.
If you can refer.
Under domestic regulations. So wherever it will be, if it is. So full stop.
Full stop.
Yes.
And then inspired and guided by the status of the International Red Cross movement. So fundamental principles and strategies does not have any legal position. Yeah.
No. In the international conference, our governments, as a part of international conference, approved that our rules, regulations, constitutions, resolutions, so it's already domestically regulation.
Yeah, that is accepted. But I'm saying about the principles and strategies. So the strategies and principles does not have any legal status. So when we are talking about the legal issues, it means either it is regulations, rules, statutes, constitution, and whatever it is.
I think
not principles and strategies.
Let me try to capture what you say, Hassan. You are suggesting that we revise inspired and guided by the statutes. Okay, let's remove accept, inspired and guided by the statutes, yes. Of the Red Crescent and Red Crescent movement and IFRC constitution recognizes them as a guiding framework for this cooperation. The network complements the efforts of its members and the wider movement. So I think we are fine. Body of the network, can we scroll down, Madeline, please? General membership meeting. Hold on. Every 2 calendar years was the suggestion. And okay, can you accept?
Okay, we can also add, because it is every 2 calendar years, and we have a lot of issues and challenges in our national societies.
Or when necessary.
We can say the extraordinary meetings will be organized when it's necessary.
No, keep the full stop, Madeline. Add one more sentences.
The extraordinary meetings.
General membership meeting may have extraordinary meetings when
necessary.
When necessary. Let's accept this. Scroll down. Let's change 9, right, by number. Can you change?
I suggest 7.
7.
If any volunteers want to participate, we can rise after that.
Chairing commission.
General
7. 7. Let's
5, 7, 9.
7.
9. Okay.
9.
Our senior said 9. Okay.
9 with number and in brackets, in parentheses, 9. Okay, let's accept. accept. At the end, there is virtual presence. What we mean it by work remotely is virtual presence. It was just a note. Let's delete it. Let's accept the 9 highlights. Scroll down, please. All done. Over to the Chairing Commission.
Last, before Iraq OIC oath.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving us the floor. And of course, we second the words addressed to you and your institution by our President, His Excellency, Mr. Taha. We also want to remind that His Excellency, our President, during his address to the session about youth, was very clear that the OIC, the ICYF represent the youth of OIC member states. And we are somehow surprised to see that in these terms of reference, we don't see youth mentioned anywhere. In this case, we would propose in the second paragraph where it speaks about the network seeks to support vulnerable people, we could add particularly youth, because as was explained in the statement of His Excellency the President, youth are among the main victims of man-made or natural catastrophes or needing a lot of humanitarian support, which is part of the national society's work. In regards to some discussions that I heard in the issues related to member countries, member states, I may perhaps share with you that I've worked 10 years in the OIC General Secretariat, and the OIC Charter says OIC member states. It's just simple and humble contribution that I'm making, and I believe that the best concept should be member states instead of member countries. I would also propose the paragraphs to be numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, just to facilitate next time the same document is discussed, because with numbers it's much easier to identify the paragraph that is required. And also in terms of suggestions in the part related to memberships, we would like to also remember that where we say the network may welcome observers and other consultative bodies, entities from OIC member countries, we would like to add and relevant OIC institutions. Because, for instance, we are an OIC institution which is dealing with youth, and we would be very happy to be either observer or have a consultative status, along with other institutions. For instance, IC that is present here is an OIC institution. Islamic Development Bank, I'm sure they would like to be part of it. They're an OIC institution, and ICS, CUSESRIC, etc., that are not represented here. I'm 100% sure they would be happy in the future to be part of this important network. In regards to steering committee composition, again, a humble suggestion. When you mentioned the number of 9, I would propose to add with equitable geographical distribution to facilitate the issue of, because in the OIC in the OIC system, there are 3 groups, Asia, Arab, and Africa. So if you have 9, make 3 each, and make sure that you write in your terms of reference with equitable geographical distribution to facilitate and further discussions in the future. So basically, this is my humble contribution, and I would insist on them be kindly added to this important document. I thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Alper, I think the terms of entities covering other relative organizations in OIC, but yes, we can add youth in somewhere, but maybe in the capacity building, we can add youth engagement.
Can you go back to the objectives, Madeline? Providing a platform among members to facilitate the exchange of knowledge, enhance youth, or strengthen youth, knowledge, strengthen. No, maybe not the best place. to facilitate the exchange of knowledge, expertise, and best practices, and also support youth best practices through increased best practices, and also support youth through increased availability of training, skill sharing, yes. Youth engagement, support youth engagement. Yes. Let's accept that. And if we can go back to the steering committee, there was rotating members with equitable diversity might be the best. Diversity will mean geographical, gender diversity in the group. So with equitable, not geographic, with equitable diversity.
Sorry, it should be diverse, geographical, because you have 3 groups in OIC, Africa, Asia, and Arab.
Yes, but we have some other dynamics in the movement. So
diversity captures all.
Yeah,
geographic,
we will capture
gender,
all diversities, gender,
yes. With equitable,
geography.
This means what you exactly say, sir. Let's accept.
What about the issue of OIC institutions?
Entities, cover them. That's what the chair has said.
I am sorry, but I may be wrong, but we are not an entity, we're an institution of OIC. Because there you mention entity of member states. The ICYF is not necessarily an entity of member states. It's an institution that is created within the OIC to serve the youth of member states.
Okay.
So if you want, you can add our as per name, or just put relevant institutions of OIC.
Madeline, that make bodies, comma, entities, and institutions from OIC.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Comma, entities, and institutions from OIC member countries.
I would say relevant, because not all institutions deal with the relevant institutions.
Okay. Let's accept time. We are
last comments from
no time.
Kuwait, Iraq, Côte d'Ivoire. Iraq.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. La Croix-Rouge de Côte d'Ivoire félicite le Croissant Rouge de Turquie pour cette organisation et surtout pour cette parfaite organisation. Et nous souhaitons bon vent à ce réseau qui est un grand outil, un outil important pour notre structure. Ma préoccupation vient d'être prise en compte. Je voulais relever qu'on tienne compte de la place des femmes dans cette structure. Quand on connaît que Henri Dunant, les premiers volontaires d'Henri Dunant, c'était les femmes. Les hommes étaient sur le champ de bataille, donc il s'est appuyé sur les femmes et pour porter le secours aux blessés. Alors, c'était ma préoccupation et nous venons juste de voir cela. Ça a été pris en compte. Mais je tiens vraiment à la place, il faut renforcer la place de la femme. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. Iraq and Kuwait.
شكرا سيد رئيس الجلسة المحترم، والشكر موصول للهلال الأحمر التركي على حسن الاستضافة والتنظيم لهذا المؤتمر الناجح. وأعبر عن تأييدي لموقف المنظمة العربية وموقف أشقائنا في الهلال السعودي والهلال الليبي، وشكرا.
Thank you. Kuwait.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. تمت تغطية جميع الملاحظات من الأخوة الأعضاء، فلا أريد أن أكرر الكلام مرة ثانية. شكرا.
Last. Algeria.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، الصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين. بداية أثمن أولا حسن الاستقبال والضيافة التي حظينا بها من قبل الهلال الأحمر التركي، في البداية الهلال الأحمر الجزائري يثمن ما جاء في بيان المنظمة العربية ويؤكد على ما تضمنه بيان المنظمة. علينا أن نأخذ المزيد من الوقت لمناقشة الفكرة وإثرائها وإنجاحها بما يحقق الأهداف. لا نريد أن نتسرع، وإنما علينا أن نسير خطوة بخطوة. هناك موافقة على المبادرة والفكرة لأجل إنشاء هذه الشبكة، لكن نحتاج أن نستكمل التصور وأن ندرسه من حيث الشكل، المحتوى والسياق، لأن النسق الذي ستشتغل فيه هذه الشبكة مهم لدول المنطقة التي تقع في إطار التعاون الإسلامي، وعليه ولحساسية المنطقة وتجاذباتها وفي إطار احترام المبادئ والنظم المسيرة للحركة الدولية، نحتاج لبناء مشروع متكامل يتجاوز أي لبس أو تداخل، وإنما تكون مصطلحاته مضبوطة ورؤيته واقعية فعالة تحقق أهداف الجمعيات الوطنية، ولا يقبل دخول أي منظمة بأي عنوان كان من غير الجمعيات الوطنية للهلال والصليب الأحمر. شكرا.
Thank you very much, dear colleagues. We will have more time to revise all these terms of reference and add and contribute. Most important part of this initiative is to become this network functional, effective, and efficient, and as a pillar of our movement by our fundamental principles, our common values. So I hope after establishment of this network, we will get a lot of additional, valuable, new, innovative, brilliant ideas. And of course, the steering committee will get all these comments and valuable contributions and will bring to the membership meeting as well. Now, before moving on to declaration, I would like to have a big applause for these terms of reference and establishment of this network. Please. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless this initiative and our goodwills. Now,
thank you.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Madeline, can we go to the declaration, please? Save, make sure you save this. Yes, that saves. Yes, declaration, please. This one is very short one, 2 paragraphs. Istanbul Declaration on the establishment of the Red Crescent and Red Cross National Societies network in the OIC member countries. Inspired and guided by the principles, rules, and regulations of the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement, in full recognition of the commonalities, challenges, and opportunities in the OIC member countries and the need for networking to collectively address these. We hereby declare the establishment of the OIC Red Network as the outcome of the meeting held in Istanbul, Turkey on 28th and 29th of January 2019, with the participation of the representatives of the following national societies.
I think you can correct the first paragraphs according to the ToR corrections.
We will need to bring Red Cross to the front and the title headline. Red Cross comes before Red Crescent. Red Cross and Red Crescent. In the OIC member, what was the last decision? States? Was states? Let's make it states. to be consistent with the terms of reference. The first sentence, I guess, with no issue, we did not receive any disagreement to inspired and guided sentence in full recognition.
I think the following national societies, just we wrote all these names down because of your participation, but some national societies need approval from their own governing board or need some time for approving this declaration. So after recognition of the first paragraph, so please.
No, we will. The chair, if you allow us, we presented all participating national societies, but we received feedback that some may need to bring it to their internal board, etc. So after we accept the declaration, the final version will be with your feedback about your participation. So please let us know after we close that, so before we publicize this in our website, we will remove those national societies who don't want to be publicized at this point. So after we accept the declaration, this is not the final, that's what I wanted to say. Those who want their names to be removed, we will accept their messages at the Chairing Commission. So we go back to the beginning. I hope it's all clear. Those national societies who want to inform the Chairing Commission to abstain or not join at this point, please let the Chairing Commission know after the endorsement of the declaration.
So shall we approve the first part? Yunus?
There was an amendment from ARCO. I think you should consider it for discussion.
Can we have it as a text? Can we have that as a text or word by word statement in terms of how we edit? You're happy to include that comment?
Dr. Hadid?
Thank you for giving me the floor.
Please.
Mr. Chairman, what I will do is I will go through the text as discussed by the ARCO group. First of all, the second line, to omit OIC Red Network. The second line, next to states, the one that's between brackets.
Oh, okay. The acronym, we delete.
Yes. Okay. Secondly, then when you go to the in full recognition of the commonalities, challenges, and opportunities in the national societies in the OIC member states.
In the nationals.
So let's talk about national societies rather than talk about the states.
Madeline, of the national Red Cross and Red Crescent societies.
Yeah.
In the
and
OIC.
the need, rather than the need for networking, it would read as follows, and the need for cooperation, for coordination and cooperation to collectively address these.
And the need for?
No, and the need for
cooperation,
coordination and cooperation.
Coordination and cooperation, and we delete the networking.
Yeah, because it's a network, so you don't need to say networking.
Yeah.
Then, to get out of this, you know, some national societies that would want to get their names out, delete their names from the declaration, we suggest the following. We hereby, number one, welcome the initiative to establish a Red Cross and Red Crescent network to establish a Red Cross and Red Cross in the OIC states as the outcome of the meeting held in Istanbul, etc. So if you, yeah.
The rest we already have. As the outcome, already we have at the back.
From there, just take it as the outcome.
Yes.
No, you've, yeah, as the outcome of the meeting held in Istanbul.
Can you accept the changes?
Blah, blah, blah. Okay, with the national societies. Number 2, invite the formation of a committee from national societies to review.
So, can I interrupt? Sorry, Madeleine, number 2 will go after the names of the national societies, because we conclude the first sentence by saying the representatives of the following national societies.
Yeah. Just take this out. Then we can find the place for with the participation, etc.
Make 2 there.
Invite the formation of a committee from national societies to review the term of reference and comments received during the conference here, and then to communicate their findings to the members to be adopted. No, it's the same one. And to communicate. And to communicate their findings to the members to be adopted. I just want to say that if we put it this way, this text, I don't think it will be contested and people would, because it gives people the time to go and consult back with their national societies, and it, you know, it will, those that are not willing to, then we can say with the participation, because everybody's participating. And here it allows for the national societies to consult with their headquarters and so on. Thank you.
Thank you. Brother Salih, you need to add something?
نعم، شكرا أولا على قبول هذه الملاحظات وشكرا للمداخلات الثرية. أريد أن أؤكد على أخذ بعين الاعتبار أيضا الجمعيات التي لم تتمكن من مشاركة هذا الحضور لسبب أو لآخر، لأن عندها برضو أفكار تخدم هذا الموضوع، فكيف نصيغ صياغة إذا شئتم في هذا البيان. وشكرا سعادة الرئيس.
Afghanistan.
Chairman. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think also our Vice and Acting President, as we are still not very much in agreement of using states, because yes, we agree that the Geneva Conventions were signed by the states, but it doesn't mean that the national societies, they work within the states, they work within the countries. And states can also be defined as organizations governing the country, but the national society's work is wider, in many cases, wider than the geographical areas of covered or controlled by the states. So I think we still, we can, maybe as you said, that it will be consulted with the legal experts, or anyway, if it remains states, then I think we will still be not comfortable with.
But I think, brothers, we are describing by these terms, by states, not our national societies, OIC membership. So we are working in OIC member states, not of, we are not of the OIC member states.
But
so it's not belonging, it's we are living and we are acting in that states. So that terms describing the membership of the OIC, it's not us.
Yes, but we are not working in the states. We are working in countries, and states are as a different definition. Sometimes states are also referred to as countries, but in many definitions, states are organizations controlling or governing the country. And we are not working in the states. We are working in countries. So it says here, national societies and OIC member states.
Dr. Hadid?
Mr. Chairman, I think this point has been discussed, and there are several points of view. Everyone thinks it's states, others countries. And if we're going to have a committee formed, I think we should leave it to the committee. Yep. They will have time to extensively investigate it, and consult with the legal advisors and so on, and come up with something that we can all accept.
Thank you.
One thing to, there is a country and there is a state. Usually the country is not necessarily a recognized state. This is the different, you know? So you have a country, but it's not recognized officially, and it's not a member in the United Nations. So this, it is the same. The country or the state, it doesn't mean the government. The government represents the state. The community within the country are one of the components of the country or the state. So we should not mix between the government and the state. The state is not necessarily the government. This is the issue, okay?
Yes, I'm sorry not to argue, but just for example, I can say the example of that our national society, the name of our national society is Afghan Red Crescent or Afghanistan Red Crescent Society. It is not the Red Crescent Society of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan. And many other national societies, they also have the same status. And some national societies might be that way, but many national societies, they belong to their people, to the country, and the states can change their name, but the national society remain as it is for many years.
I respect your knowledge, but it is not the constitution. This is the very basic terms of reference. As far as I know, the country describing the geographical borders and the state describing the political existence, and the nationalities or the nations who are living in that states bounded with the citizenship with that states, we know, all of us, yeah, our target is very clear. By the valuable commitment from the Dr. Hadid, shall we approve this declaration?
Can we first accept the changes and have a clear, accept all changes, please, Madeleine? Okay, yes? Madeleine, accept? Okay. Yeah, zoom out and we see it all.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, with the last second, let's say, comments here, we have the, as Dr. Hadid suggested, provided during the conference. So now, I think he meant the conference is this meeting, huh? It is not a conference, so maybe we can have the during this meeting. Huh?
Yes. Small. Okay, President, over to you. We have the accepted.
Shall we approve? Thank you very much, your tireless effort as drafting members all. Maybe before going to lunch, you have some announce?
Thank you so much, Chairman. We had the historical pleasure to present the establishment of this network with my colleagues in the drafting committee. I thank them all for their efforts from yesterday to today. So we now have a logistical announcement. For those of you who are registered to go to Topkapı Museum, they will need to have a short lunch because the agenda dragged. So those who will go to Topkapı Palace, please be at the reception at 2 p.m. We had half an hour delay in our visit. 2 p.m. at the reception for Topkapı Museum tour. Thank you so much, and thanks for all your contributions.
Family photo.
And now we invite you all for the family photo before we break for lunch. Thank you. Yeah, جواد.
Together. For our.
جواد.
احنا هو بقى من ورا خالد. ممكن من ورا؟ Thank you.
Thank you so
Pleasure.
much. Maybe can we have with our photographer as well?
Yes.
A quick one before people came. Go. Come on. So.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ahmed.
What is it?
Gelmez. Ha, ben şöyle bilgisayara biraz destek atalım. Gel. Hop, tamam.